morning. Welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on this 4th day of October 2022. My name is Sam Gituku. I want to introduce the panelists once again. Gabriel Tungoyo is the Member of Parliament for Narok West. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Have you been here before?
Not really.
Karibu sana to Citizen TV and Karibu sana to Daybreak. Next to him is David Kosing, Member of Parliament for Pokot South. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You may have been here, but it's been a long time.
A while, yes.
Good
But I used to be a customer here.
It's good to see you, and it's very interesting that I have the former chair of the Transport Committee and the former vice chair.
Yes, we are here together.
Gadoni Wamweshomba, Member of Parliament.
Today.
Yeah.
business.
And Kenyans have been fair to both of us.
Oh, yes.
To bring us
Good
back.
morning, Mweshwa.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
And congratulations for winning. I mean, all of you anyway.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, Dr. James Nyikal, Member of Parliament for Seme Constituency, Kisumu County. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. I mean, you've been here a few months ago.
Yes.
And of course, we want to have a conversation about the latest in the world of politics, but also in the news. And on the front page of the Standard, you'll see the main story there is about what the cabinet was able to do yesterday. That is turning to GMOs in face of food crisis. With more than 4 million Kenyans on the brink of starvation, the cabinet decided that lifting the ban, increasing irrigation, and diversifying crops will be the long-term solution to perpetual problem. And you see the story continues on page 10 of the Standard, giving a bit of details of what this has been. President says that the move will help the country plant diverse and drought-resistant crops. Kibaki had banned GMOs following safety concerns raised by Public Health Ministry. That was in 2012, just about 10 years ago. So it's such a journey that the country has traveled, which you see contained on page 10 of the Standard from the year 2000 when Kenya signs Cartagena Protocol on biosafety ratified in 2003, all the way to that ban in 2012. Just before then, the Minister of Public Health, Beth Mugo, then established a task force to evaluate information on the safety of GMOs. And in 2012, Kenya banned GMO imports. And of course, May 2012, Kenya approved modification of banana for development of a double haploid plant under laboratory and greenhouse conditions in Kenya. So that journey traveled also in the year 2002 when there were different decisions made between February up to now that the cabinet has lifted that ban. Let me begin with you, Dr. James Nyikal, because as we watch this, Kenyans are alive to the fact that, yes, there's a situation that we're facing. The climate change impact is real and it's getting felt every other year. Currently, 23 counties are in the red in terms of food safety. Will this be the solution? And are there concerns that you're not looking at even as we get to resolving a food crisis? But what more must we think about?
Well, to start with the first question, would this be the solution? The answer is no. I don't think we are having a shortage of food because of the type of seeds and crops we have. That's not the problem. The problem is actually our agriculture. The one thing that has changed in this country, extension work by agricultural officers just died. Farmers, particularly small-scale farmers in non-commercial farming areas, is actually non-existent. And to me, that is the area. If you now talked about irrigation and looking at the use of fertilizers and so on, I think that is in the right direction. But looking at GMO as what will solve our problem, I don't think that is so. I would not jump at it as a bigger thing. I will say looking at fertilizers, yes. Looking at irrigation, yes. Looking at reduction of fertilizer, yes. The reason I'm saying this is GMOs are genetically modified organisms, really. Is a new area and is cautioned all over the world because you are actually changing the gene of the crop, of the plant. And there's a lot of research that has gone in that. Why people prefer it is that they're bigger yields and that they're resistant to insecticides, but at the same time, they're also resistant. They're more tolerant to herbicides. There's a contradiction there. But also, they are resistant to drought. So because of that, they are popular. As for their health safety, a lot of work has been done, but there has been definitely a problem associated with them, not directly the food, but the environment in which it is produced. Because of their tolerance to herbicides, now there is a definitely increased use of herbicides, and some of these herbicides, the things that control weeds, are definitely have been associated with health problems. A cancer of the blood known as Hodgkin's. That seems to, there has been no doubt about that. So that has been a problem. So when you're using them, other things will occur. They will also change the environment. If you then use those herbicides, and some of those herbicides are actually dangerous to insects and other plants, and there are areas where certain types of insects have literally been wiped out. Now, we don't know what that means to us. Mm-hmm. There's an element that is, I've not really heard that being discussed a lot. When you have these crops in the field, they do produce pollen, and pollen contains the genes. And the bees that actually fertilize these will actually move with them to other plants. That people are not talking about. How is that affecting other plants or other maize? If, say, you went into maize, how are other maize plants affected in the area? If you have it in a plot, an acre plot, in, say, Eldoret or Kitale, for example, you will not be able to confine it to that plot. Pollination by insects will then move these genes across, and how is it affecting the other seeds? So when you jump into them, right, you must realize it will affect other things that are important in your environment. So yes, they may be harmful to health, but in a much more broader aspect than just directly consuming it and thinking it is that. In fact, as we are moving very rapidly, I can see, in this case, to GMOs. Worldwide, the research is now moving the other direction. The crops, the original crops that actually we started with, are now proving that they're probably hardier and even more resistant to this.
Are they still available?
They can be made available. So, to my view, is the caution that was in 2012, I think, was a necessary caution. And I would have said, let's move fast into other obvious areas where we are deficient in food production than jump to GMOs. Okay. And if something actually was a task force, as you indicated, that looked at it scientifically and said, let's hold on. I don't know whether in the less than 3 weeks that we have been in government, we have actually gone and set somebody to look into details of when we are going, what has now changed from 10 years ago. There may be new information, but I think that should have been looked at faster. So I'll say I would be very cautious. Okay. I would not go this direction. I would look at other areas where deficient in food production and address them first.
Okay. Mheshimiwa Gathoni, you come from such an agricultural county, but also has been moving arable land to other commercial uses. What does this mean for the farmers in that area, whether it's on food security, but also on commercialization of their farming? Is it a good thing? But what are the risks that you're thinking about this morning?
Thank you. And first of all, I want to say thank you for hosting me, having me here today. And I'm listening to Dr. Nyikal speak his science. And you know, sometimes science is good, but we might die, all of us, as we wait for the scientific reports. Because, of course, like you know, that our population is on an increase trend, and our food production is on a downward trend. I come from a conservative agricultural county, and now I'm representing a very productive sub-county, Githunguri. By the way, we are the home of fresh milk. You know, we are a center of excellence in Africa when it comes to production of milk. And what we are doing today is not what we used to do 10 years ago. We had more milk, we had better quality, we had better quality cows, and that is normal. Because of climate change, we have issues that have contributed to vanishing of some type of crops. We have soil degradation, soil erosion. We have climatic seasons that have changed. We used to have very serious rains. They are no more. And that is also contributing to the level of yield when it comes to our production. My opinion is, if this is going to be a quick fix that is going to fix the food production issue in Kenya and salvage a population from diminishing from famine, if this is going to be a quick fix to provide food on the table to the 23 counties that are starving today, I would recommend that the scientific reports that we've been on our shelves for the last 10 years or so, as we could reconsider them and look at the health issues, scientific issues, we look at the need now, because there is a serious need. And it is fallacious for us to be saying, oh, Kenya is growing, and we can't be able to feed our own population. Allow me to take you back to Githunguri and central Mount Kenya region as a bigger region. When I was growing up, when I was about 4 or 5 years ago, we used to have some traditional cereals that we used to grow. We used to call them in my mother tongue, nzoo. Nzoo is, I don't know what you call them, the brown peas. And they used to grow almost naturally in the villages. They could grow everywhere. Today, you cannot find them. Even when you plant, when you try to plant, they don't grow. What happened? We must have interfered with the formula of our soils. There must be something that is in the rain that is affecting the growth of those traditional cereals. And that is one of the reasons why we are hungry. When I speak about nzoo or those traditional cereals that we used to grow, I'm sure there's somebody else who is thinking what they used to grow maybe 20 years ago in their region, and they are no more. In my area, Githunguri, we used to have very serious upshoot of napier grass that used to grow even in the wild. It is no more. So you have to literally plant the scientific napier grass for you to have napier grass in your farm. But we used to have some traditional napier grass that used to just shoot whenever there's rain, and our cows could have sufficient. Today, my brother, every single farmer in Githunguri who has 0 grazed cows has to have a formula on how to source for animal fodder. Not even, commercial foods. I'm talking about fodder. Fodder. It has to be commercially purchased somewhere from somewhere. I mean, like I said, it's fallacious for us to say that we are growing on a steady growth, and we cannot provide the food that our people require. And therefore, for me, for what I'm seeing today and what came out of yesterday's cabinet, it's something that was discussed by over 20 people. I'm sure they have evaluated their pros and cons and decided to give us a quick fix for this country before we decide otherwise. When it comes to issues of seeds and what Daktari has raised, a very critical issue, that if we go GMO, we might not even have the capacity to produce our own seeds that we can replant season in, season out. I think that is already happening. I mean, in my area, we no longer plant the maize that we harvest in our farm, from our farms. Every season, we have to run to the shops to buy new seeds. When I was growing up, we used to have maize where we could select the best quality based on what we could see. We could actually weigh and see which one is heavier than the other. I don't know whether that happened to other places. And we could actually recycle the seeds. We could actually, prepare the seeds.
And how was the yield that time compared to the yield today?
The yield was okay because we used to eat and get enough. We never used to sleep hungry. Today in Githunguri, which is one of the most productive sub-counties in Kiambu County, actually it's #1 when it comes to production. Some people, especially in the urban areas, are sleeping hungry. That was not heard of. Okay. Because we produced enough, irrespective of our own unskilled and scientific and uninformed practice, we provided for the basic. Today we can't. So if GMO is what is going to sort our food basket issues for now, let's go for it.
Okay, I found a name for you, Nzoo. Pigeon peas.
Oh, pigeon peas, yes. Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you.
All right, and Zoe is not your local language.
Zoe is Kikamba. It is Kikamba. We used to call it Njogo. Njogo in Kikuyu is called Njogo.
Okay, all right. Mheshimiwa Kosing,
Yes.
sometimes your county has challenges with the drought situation and famine. I don't know how the situation is from the ground, from your experience, but as we go into this conversation of now lifting the ban on GMOs, I mean, how would that help your region in terms of going agricultural and growing such crops for food sustenance by the people?
Thank you, Sam, for inviting me here and also giving us opportunity to be able to contribute to this fundamental topic. My county now, yes, we are moving towards drought. It's not as that bad at the moment as we read and see other counties. But coming back to GMO, Sam Kitugu, this is a political risk. It's a shock and a political risk, if you ask me as a leader. Why am I saying that? You know, it's a shock because Kenyans heard yesterday that the cabinet lifted the ban. And it was actually banned sometime back in 2012. So the question that must have come first before lifting the ban is, what happened between that time and now? There should have been a research. Have things changed? Have we improved? What happened? Why was it banned? It is a contested issue, Sam, all over the world, and particularly on health, environment, as Dr. Nikal said. I read yesterday when I was at this and you told me you were coming, had to do my little research a little bit. And I find that in terms of health, there's something called gene transfer, right, in this thing. GMO, if you eat GMO food, the gene transfer, there's a possibility that the gene might be transferred in your stomach when when the food is in your stomach, that can be transferred to bacteria in your body. You know, bacteria is used for digestion. And when that affects that kind of system, then there's a problem. This is a contested issue in the world, Sam. It is politically risk. So maybe now what we need to know as Kenyans, yes, we want to support good things that are happening in our country. But first of all, we need to be told what happened in 2012, between 2012 and now. So if things have changed, then we should have been told, okay, fine, you know it was banned because of this, and therefore the following things then has happened between that, and therefore Kenyans, can we look forward to open the ban? That would have been the discussion, Sam, in my own expectation, not that it has been lifted because it is a shock and it's a political risk. Why? Because now Kenyans are debating two things. One, is it because of the famine that's going on, or because of international pressure? Yes, we are aware there's been an international pressure, particularly from multinationals from the West, and specifically America. They have been pushing that Kenya opens this ban so that they can be able to sell their products in this country. So the question is, to what extent is that true? To what extent is it that we are connecting to famine? Are we using famine as an opportunity to open business for other people? So it's a debate, really. It's not about whether health and so on. But the debate now will now precipitate itself into that what I'm telling you. And that's why I'm saying it is a political risk.
Wow. Okay, political risk, you call it. Gabriel, from your county, Narok, we hear and learn of it as being one of the areas that we grow wheat for the country. But unfortunately, it's still not sufficient. We have to import much of it. What is the bigger problem? Is it the seeds we are using? Is it the farming methods we are using? And what would be the solution? Is it GMO, or is it more investment into how we're farming?
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me into this. Now, the question of GMO, as my colleagues have put it, and I think from the cabinet decision, it is clear to all of us that this is a subject that has been under study for quite some time. And I think my colleague Nikal started by saying that majority of our institutions, like universities and biosafety institutions and all that, have been carrying a research on the same. So, and the issue of GMO, to me, before maybe come to the issue specific to Narok,
okay,
I think to me, I think it's long overdue in a way, because the cabinet has taken into consideration a lot of factors vis-a-vis the situation in this country. GMO, you know, maybe the word may appear to be more hard and, you know, more complicated, but just a way to enhance the productivity of the produce by maybe a little bit re-engineering, you know, the seeds to make them more resistant to pest, to drought, and, you know, to reduce even the post-harvest maybe losses. So to me, I think it's just one way of trying to enhance our yields behind many other techniques. We all had the president very passionate about being food reliant as a country. And I think it's the duty of every country, every leadership, to make their citizens food sufficient. Yeah. As we speak now, as a country, we are being told that we have got close to 4 million Kenyans starving that actually need urgent intervention on food. The issue of climate change is real, is here with us. It's for everyone to see. It's not going to be more, maybe probably more better moving forward. The intervention may be many, but this is just one of them. And for Narok case, as you had asked, we are just actually also witnessing the same situation like the other part of the country. The wheat production, as you put it, and other produce, the climate change is here. We have not had enough rain for almost 2, 3, 4 seasons in a sequence, of course, affecting the production. The issue of pests, as they put it, it's been so much there. We have been even having a lot of some birds, I don't know what they call them. There are times when it is almost harvesting time, they come to harvest before the owner harvests. So to me, I think the cabinet took a right decision. I'm sure their decision was based on science, based on research, and it's just taking precaution and mitigating the environmental.
But in your view, from your county, what is this? What would fix it? What would fix the challenge?
Of wheat or
specific to wheat production, what is that solution that you'll be seeking? Because you're saying there's a shortage of rain.
Yes.
And you're also saying that this is likely to continue. So what is the long-term solution? Because even genetically modified seeds would also require to be irrigated. They would also require rain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, GMO is like producing those seeds that does not really maybe need much rain as compared to what has been used before. Maybe you have a few little rain, a half of what probably normally is needed, then you get even more yield and a good bumper harvest. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, control of the pests. Of course, we should also, like we have the county, devolved agriculture is a devolved function. We are also able to reintroduce, as Nikal put it, extension agricultural officers to teach our farmers on the latest techniques of production.
Let me say something about gene transfer.
And also tell me about whether Parliament would have any role, or it's just the Cabinet has decided, then we go?
Okay, let's say gene transfer and then Parliament. That is the crux of the matter that he brought out, gene transfer. Now, you meddling with the gene, you change the gene, and you are just looking at a few aspects that is okay. Now, once you put that in the wild, that gene is now transferred. And that's what I was saying with the pollen and the bees and the butterflies. And like this, we're talking about the Napier grass and the scientific Napier grass. It's actually quite possible that the scientific Napier grass killed the original Napier grass. Those are the areas we are worried with. Once that thing is in the field, the genes are transferred. Maybe to human beings, maybe a little slower, but to plants, definitely, there will be gene transfer. So you will be having these genes moving into other plants and even other crops. And we don't know exactly how it is being used. Another thing, these seeds are patented. Whoever produces it will patent the seed. You can only produce it from them. So I think we should have just gone in our research. But if you say like Narok, the first thing you think of, I used to move there earlier, and it would be large tracts of land. It has now been cut into small pieces into homes. Number one, there's a problem in the forest. The forest we are cutting. So now you are cutting the land into small pieces where the rain comes from. You are now killing the forest. It's not the GMO that will answer that question. You answer that. So I think that Parliament definitely will have a role. We will definitely have to bring the minister to explain to us the decision, the facts, the basis of the decision, the factual basis of the decision they made. Surely, I would expect that the minimum is they have actually looked at the data that was used in 2012 and produced more data between 2012 and now, and tell us that now we are ready as a country. You also must be ready to monitor what it is doing in the environment.
Okay.
So I think that is so Parliament has a role. We can ask the basis. We can actually make a resolution that it is not the time.
Minister for Agriculture, Minister for Health.
Minister for Agriculture, Minister for Health, Minister for Environment.
Okay, all right.
All these people will have to actually...
I know we are running out of time because I need to take a short break. Yeah. But quickly on the role of Parliament and what you wanted to add.
I wanted to put more weight on what you asked. You asked my brother, what is it that we need to do so that we can bring back the green fields that we used to have? The green fields, when I mean production of wheat, production of maize. And I think introducing the GMOs is not actually the final solution. We may introduce the GMOs in our farms, and we still have very poor yields. Correct. We must realize that the producer of foods in this country has been ignored for a long time.
You are talking.
Okay.
Yeah, we must agree and accept that farmer education has been commercialized in this country. We no longer provide the extension officers' input that we used to have there before. You remember the late President Moi, may the Lord rest his soul in peace. He had a serious, passionate campaign, ya momonyoko wa udongo. Do you remember? He actually taught our grannies how to take care of soil. He taught our grannies how to afforest, to plant trees. We forgot everything. All we ran for is what is available in the market, for quick fix here, for quick money returns, for quick results to be seen, like if you're a Minister of Agriculture that you have produced. I saw the former Cabinet Secretary, Bona Munya, running all over here, screaming about locusts, doing a lot of zero game. When we really needed to go back to the basis, the bottom of the pyramid, the producer is the person we need to empower, whether GMO or not GMO. If we don't go back to the basic producer, we are doing nothing.
Okay.
Post-harvest losses is something that is really affecting our production. Even if we planted acres and acres of this GMO, without taking care of post-harvest losses, we are going nowhere. We lose a lot of 35% of our production is lost. During harvesting. Who cares? Who advises farmers? If I've watched your TV and listened to your channels, all I hear is a commercialized farmer education. Where is the affordable farmer education for that farm to take care of post-harvest losses?
And you have such a superstructure of how that should be done.
Exactly.
Agriculture is a devolved function.
Exactly, it's a devolved function, unfortunately. But I think Parliament has a role to play.
Okay.
This is time we need to actually see our members of Parliament and lawmakers putting their words across on demanding on some of those interventions that we think that if they are interplayed are going to give us results. Otherwise, introducing GMOs without actually providing the basis of what I'm talking about, we may be doing nothing.
Okay,
just
summarize for us.
Yeah, I think I started by actually trying to
You should vote for me to become the next cabinet, chair of agriculture.
We all noticed, and I'm sure we appreciated how the president is passionate on matters agriculture. GMO is just one way into making Kenya food reliance. The issue of supplying certified fertilizers to the farmers on time, the issue of providing the tools to the farmer down there in the village, the issue of introducing and maybe a lot of irrigation schemes that are not reliant to rains is also one. I think it was well outlined by the president. The issue of opening even actually, or you talked about some areas that are not ideally for agriculture, or the ideal for agriculture, arable. And people may be used for other activities. I'm sure maybe the president is looking into that. So the role of parliament, you know, it's a long chain of activities. More than anything else is actually allocating enough funds during the budgeting time. Because all this can only be achieved if there is enough funds in agriculture. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Honorable Kosing, can I take a short break, then I come back with something else, but I give an opportunity to say what you want to add. You're watching Daybreak as we continue the conversation around the latest decisions of President William Ruto and the cabinet. Up next, we talk about what's happening at Parliament, but also the priorities as outlined by the president before Parliament. After the break, stay tuned.